There are some new file formats that are compatible with After Effects 7, such as this 32-bit TIFF that I brought in. Now, any of the HDR type files, high dynamic range files such as the OpenEXR, AAF, 32-bit or 16-bit TIFFs and PSDs, Photoshop files, can be imported just like any other file. And you can convert your project to 32-bit, which I have here. And this allows you to work with a much greater range of color control and image control. So if I was to just look at this image by itself, you can see I brought that in, and that's just the image at like 12.5%. And I wanted to smooth out the details of the skin here. Well, I converted this just to a 3D layer and put a light on it. Now, if I turn that light off, you can see that I've taken the exposure plug-in, and I've just underexposed it a little bit just so I don't have really harsh specular highlights here. And then when I put the light on it, which is just kind of a warm light, it gives me a very nice natural lighting effect in here. So this is something that if it was just 8-bit, it would probably burn out. We'd get some nasty burns in there, or we'd just lose a lot of this texture and control. Now, this is important, especially if you're working with still images that you're going to be using to film or in high definition. You really want as much color space as you can in there. Also, another thing, let's convert this back to 8-bit here. And another thing we can do is export directly to Flash movies, which is really helpful if you're doing movies you want to present on the web and you don't want to put a QuickTime up there that people can steal easily or do things with. So you just want a nice Flash movie that will be compressed for the web. Well, say I take this movie here and I just want to export it as Macromedia Flash, and I'll give it a name to save it. And then it gives me this dialog. Now I can say how high a quality do I want this movie to be, and you can either ignore the unsupported features that get exported or just rasterize them. We'll just choose ignore here, and I just clicked on a loop, so it'll just loop over and over, and then just say export. Well, I've already got this rendered out, so you can see this is how it presented that movie, and it gives you all of your information. When it exports your SWF file, it also exports an HTML file, which is this. Then this has the movie inside it, and it gives you all of your information about that movie. Of course, all your controls of Flash, a movie file are here, and you can open up the movie itself in a separate window and scale it. You still have all those controls that you would with a normal Flash movie. And this way you don't have any converting to do. You don't have to open it up in Flash and resave or go to QuickTime or whatever. So those are just some of the basic features. Now, you can also work with HDV footage. I don't have a sample to show you here, but if you have native HDV from a Sony HD cam, it will work with that format, as well as Camera Raw, which is really great because you can go with 32-bit with your Camera Raw as well if you have still images directly out of your high-end SLR camera.